The poor school beauty came back to high school, but no one recognized who she had become. Everyone thought she had disappeared forever. The poorest girl in school. The girl whose shoes were held together with glue. The girl everyone secretly called the most beautiful student. She vanished without saying goodbye. 5 years later, a mysterious young woman walked through the school gates. She looked confident. She looked powerful. No one recognized her. But when the principal saw her face, he turned completely pale because the girl everyone forgot had come back for a reason. And before the day was over, someone's biggest secret would begin to unravel. Rain poured over the old halls of Westbrook High School. The building hadn't changed much. The same cracked walls, the same rusty school gate, the same basketball court where students laughed during lunch. Only one thing had changed. A black luxury car slowly stopped in front of the entrance. Students immediately pulled out their phones. Who is that? Is someone famous visiting? Maybe a celebrity. The driver stepped out first. He walked to the back door and opened it with quiet respect. A young woman stepped onto the pavement. She wore a simple white blouse, a dark skirt, and low heels. Nothing flashy. Nothing expensive looking. Yet somehow, everyone looked at her. She carried herself with quiet confidence. Her long, dark hair moved gently in the wind. Her face was calm, beautiful, elegant, almost impossible to ignore. Groups of students stopped talking. Teachers standing near the entrance stared in confusion. No one knew her, or at least, they thought they didn't. The young woman slowly looked around the campus. Every hallway, every classroom window, every corner held a memory. Some good, most painful. She whispered softly, "I finally came back." 5 years earlier. Her name was Lily Carter. She was known as the prettiest girl in school. Not because she wore expensive clothes, not because she tried to attract attention, but because kindness made her unforgettable. She smiled at everyone. She helped classmates with homework. She shared her lunch even when she barely had enough herself. Her father had died when she was young. Her mother worked 2 jobs cleaning offices and washing dishes. Money was always scarce. Sometimes Lily skipped lunch so her younger brother could eat dinner. Her school uniform had been repaired so many times that the stitches were more visible than the original fabric. Students noticed. Some admired her strength. Others laughed. A group led by Vanessa, the richest girl in school, never missed a chance to embarrass her. "Did your mother buy those shoes from the trash? You smell like cheap detergent?" Poor people should know their place. The hallway filled with laughter. Lily never answered. She simply walked away. Not because she was weak, because she refused to become like them. One teacher quietly watched these moments. Mr. Harris. He wanted to help, but every time he tried, someone important stopped him. The mysterious woman entered the school office. The receptionist smiled politely. "Good morning. How may I help you?" The woman handed over a letter. "I have an appointment with the principal." The receptionist glanced at the paper. Her smile disappeared. She stood up immediately. "Please, wait here." She hurried toward the principal's office. Moments later, the office door swung open. Principal Anderson stepped outside. The moment he looked at the young woman, his face lost all color. His hands trembled. It, it can't be." The woman smiled gently. "Hello, Principal Anderson. It's been a long time." He stared at her. "Lily?" She nodded once. "Yes, I'm back." For several seconds, neither of them spoke. The principal looked as though he had seen a ghost. Finally, he whispered, "Why did you return?" Lily's expression remained calm. "I came to finish something that should have ended years ago." The principal swallowed hard. "You promised," she interrupted him. "No, you made me promise. And today, that promise ends." Outside, students watched through the office window. Why is the principal talking to her personally? Who is she? Did you see how scared he looked? The rumors spread through every classroom within minutes. No one knew that one old yearbook, hidden inside the library, still contained a smiling photograph of a poor girl everyone had forgotten. Almost everyone. One teacher slowly opened that yearbook. He stared at the picture, then looked toward the office window. His eyes widened. "Lily, so you really came back." And suddenly, he realized the nightmare from 5 years ago wasn't over. It was just beginning. The moment one of her former bullies saw her, the color drained from her face. She dropped her phone because the poor girl everyone laughed at was standing only a few feet away. But that wasn't what terrified her. What terrified her was the smile. Lily wasn't angry. She wasn't crying. She wasn't asking for revenge. She looked like someone who already knew every secret they had spent 5 years trying to bury. And before the school day ended, one of those secrets would come back to haunt them. The rumor spread through Westbrook High faster than a wildfire. A beautiful woman is meeting with the principal. She's an inspector. No, she's donating money. I heard she's buying the school. Every hallway buzzed with whispers. No one knew the truth. Except one person. Vanessa Blake. Now 23 years old, Vanessa had returned to Westbrook High as a guest speaker. Her wealthy father had donated a fortune to the school, and she was there to present a scholarship in her family's name. She walked through the main hallway wearing an expensive designer suit, sunglasses resting on her head, with several teachers greeting her warmly. To everyone else, she looked successful, confident, untouchable. Then she caught a glimpse of Lily walking toward the library. Vanessa froze. No, her heartbeat pounded in her ears. It can't be. The woman turned slightly. Their eyes met. Lily gave a small, polite smile. Vanessa's phone slipped from her hand and crashed onto the floor. Memories hit her all at once. The cafeteria, the laughter, the ripped backpack, the cruel jokes, the rainy afternoon when Lily stood alone outside the school gates. And that terrible day. The day Lily disappeared, Vanessa had convinced herself it wasn't her fault. She had repeated that lie for 5 years. But seeing Lily again, the lie suddenly felt very fragile. Lily continued walking as if nothing had happened. She didn't stop. She didn't accuse anyone. She didn't even mention the past. That frightened Vanessa more than anger ever could. People seeking revenge usually shouted. Lily remained silent. Silent people were impossible to predict. Meanwhile, inside the principal's office, Principal Anderson locked the door. "You shouldn't have come back." Lily calmly sat down. "I had every reason to." "You don't understand what this could do." "No," Lily replied softly. "I understand exactly what it will do." The principal sighed heavily. "What do you want?" Lily placed a small flash drive on his desk. "I want the truth." His eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" She didn't answer. Instead, she said, 5 years ago, you told everyone I left because my family moved away. That wasn't true. You knew it. You signed the papers. You watched innocent people get blamed. And you stayed silent." The principal looked ready to collapse. Across campus, Mr. Harris found himself unable to focus on teaching. He kept staring through the classroom window. Finally, he excused himself and walked to the old storage room beneath the library. Dust covered everything. Old trophies, broken desks, stacks of forgotten files. He searched through cabinet after cabinet until he found a faded cardboard box labeled Student Records 5 years ago. His hands trembled. Inside, every student's file was there, except one, Lily Carter's. Her entire record had vanished. Someone had removed it, deliberately. Mr. Harris whispered, "They erased her." Before he could think further, he heard footsteps behind him. Someone had been watching him. At the same time, Vanessa hurried to the parking lot and called her father. He answered immediately. "Everything all right?" "No, she's here." A long silence. Then, "Who?" "Lily." Even through the phone, her father stopped breathing for a moment. "That's impossible." "I saw her." Another long silence followed. Finally, he spoke in a voice Vanessa had never heard before. "Listen to me carefully. Leave the school. Right now. And don't speak to her." "But why?" "Because if Lily starts asking questions, our lives are over." The call ended. Vanessa stood frozen. For the first time in her life, she realized her father had been afraid all along, afraid of one poor girl. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, Lily walked alone toward the old science building, the one place she had avoided during her school years. Everything looked the same: the cracked stairs, the peeling paint, the broken window no one had repaired. She stopped at the last classroom on the second floor, room 214. She gently placed her hand on the doorknob, closed her eyes, and whispered, "This is where everything began." She pushed the door open. The room was empty. Almost. A single envelope lay on the teacher's desk. It hadn't been there 5 minutes earlier. Her name was written across the front. Lily Carter. Inside was a single sentence. "If you tell the truth, your brother dies next." Lily's calm expression disappeared for the first time. She looked slowly around the empty classroom. Someone knew she had returned. Someone had been watching her all day, and that meant the people responsible for what happened 5 years ago were still in the school. The threat wasn't empty. Someone knew Lily had returned. Someone had slipped the letter into an empty classroom without anyone seeing, and the message mentioned only one person, her younger brother, the same brother everyone believed had disappeared with her 5 years ago. But what no one knew was that Lily had already prepared for this moment. She didn't come back alone. She came back with evidence, and somewhere inside Westbrook High, a hidden camera was recording every move she made. Lily folded the letter and slipped it into her handbag. She didn't panic. Whoever had written it wanted to scare her. She refused to give them that satisfaction. Instead, she walked calmly out of room 214, but her eyes scanned every hallway, every corner, every classroom window. Someone was watching. She could feel it. Across the hall, a janitor pushed an old cleaning cart. His head stayed low as Lily walked past. The moment she disappeared around the corner, he quietly reached into his pocket. He sent a text message. She found the note. Only 3 seconds later, a reply appeared. Keep watching her. Don't let her reach the archives. The janitor deleted the messages immediately. To everyone else, he looked like an ordinary employee, but he wasn't. Meanwhile, Mr. Harris couldn't stop thinking about the missing student records. Someone had erased Lily's entire history from the school's files. That wasn't something a student could do. It had to be someone with authority, someone with keys, someone who wanted the past to disappear. He locked the storage room and headed toward the administration building. Before he reached the stairs, Principal Anderson stepped into his path. You've been looking through old records. Mr. Harris stared at him. You knew they were gone. The principal didn't answer. You've known for 5 years. Still, silence. Finally, the principal spoke. Some truths destroy more lives than lies. Mr. Harris shook his head. And some lies destroy innocent people. Without another word, he walked away. For the first time, the principal looked completely alone. That evening, Lily drove to a quiet neighborhood on the edge of town. She entered a modest house with white curtains and a small garden. A young man opened the door before she could knock. He smiled. You were gone longer than expected. Lily finally smiled back. I'm okay. The young man was her younger brother, Noah. 5 years ago, he had been just 13 years old. Now he was a university student studying computer science. He looked at her face carefully. Someone threatened you. She nodded. They know I'm here. Noah walked to his laptop and opened several security screens, maps, camera feeds, phone records, encrypted files. I expected that. Lily frowned. You already started? I started months ago. He turned the screen toward her. Across the monitor were photographs of the school, the principal, Vanessa, several teachers, even the janitor. They've been watching us. So, I watched them first. Lily sat down quietly. You never told me how much you found. Noah hesitated, because I wanted proof. He clicked another folder. A grainy security video appeared. The date read 5 years earlier. The footage showed the hallway outside room 214. Young Lily walked into the classroom. Minutes later, 3 people entered after her. The camera couldn't see inside. Then, a loud crash echoed. The 3 people hurried out. One of them looked terrified. The other 2 kept looking behind them. Then the screen went black. Someone had deliberately cut the recording. Lily stared without speaking. This is the only surviving copy, Noah said. I recovered it from an old backup server they forgot to erase. It's not enough to prove what happened. No, but it's enough to prove someone hid the truth. At the same time, Vanessa couldn't sleep. She kept remembering that day. The shouting, the broken glass, the blood. She had spent years convincing herself she wasn't responsible, but guilt never truly disappeared. Her phone suddenly buzzed. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. A distorted voice whispered, If Lily talks, you go to prison first. The line disconnected. Vanessa's hands shook uncontrollably. Someone else was pulling the strings. Someone who feared Lily even more than she did. The next morning, Lily returned to Westbrook High before sunrise. The campus was almost empty. She walked straight toward the old library archives, exactly as the mysterious text message had predicted. As she reached the heavy wooden door, she noticed something unusual. The lock had been replaced. It was brand new. Someone had secured the room overnight. Lily reached into her bag. She removed an old brass key, a key she had kept for 5 years. Mr. Harris had secretly given it to her on the day she disappeared. She slid it into a hidden keyhole beneath the door handle. Click. The door slowly opened. The archives were dark, silent. Dust floated through the early morning light. Shelves filled with forgotten documents stretched into the darkness. Lily took one cautious step inside, then another. Suddenly, the heavy door slammed shut behind her. The lights went out. She heard footsteps. Not one pair, several. And from somewhere inside the darkness, a familiar voice whispered, "You should have stayed gone, Lily."